We're going to start class today with some sun salutations. You're going to step up near the top of your mat with your feet about a fist distance apart, toes pointed straight forward. Push your feet down into the mat, stand up nice and tall, roll your shoulders back, close your eyes and close your mouth, and then begin to breathe in and out through your nose. Count to 4 or 5 with your inhale, and then the same with your exhale. Okay, and then open your eyes. With your next breath in, reach your arms all the way up overhead, bringing your palms to touch. And then with your exhale, bend your knees, swan dive forward, come down, relax your hands towards the mat, keep your knees bent, grab opposite elbows, sway a little bit side to side. Maybe straighten one leg a little more and then the other. Okay, take one more breath here. Then relax your hands down. With an inhale, come up halfway, flatten your back. Exhale, slide back down. Plant your hands, step back into plank or tabletop. Then drop your knees down, lower your chest and your chin to the mat. And tuck your toes, come down onto your belly. With an inhale, come up into cobra. Exhale, back down. Tuck your toes. Peel yourself back up through your tabletop and then into your downward dog. So we're going to start here with knees bent, pushing your tailbone up to the ceiling, your chest back towards your thighs. Let your neck relax. Maybe even widen out your feet if that feels better. And then slowly start to pedal your feet one at a time with your breath. Okay, then with your next breath in, look forward towards your hands, walk up to the top of the mat, to your forward fold, lift up halfway, and then fold back down. Relax your neck, and then inhale, come all the way back up tall, reach up tall, palms touch. And then we're gonna go again, so exhale, fold. Bring your hands back towards the mat. With an inhale, come up halfway, flatten your back. Exhale, slide back down. Plant your hands, step back into plank. Do puppy pose. Drop your knees, lower your chest and your chin. Come all the way down. Inhale up to cobra. Exhale back down. Tuck your toes, peel yourself up again through tabletop to downward dog. Take a couple breaths here, either pedaling your feet or just pushing your heels towards the mat. Take one more breath. Then with an inhale, look forward, walk up to the top of the mat, lift up halfway, flatten your back. Exhale, slide back down. And then inhale, come all the way back up tall, reach up tall. Exhale, hands down to prayer. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time and then we'll move into our next poses. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back into plank, and drop your knees or lower down. Inhale this time, come to up dog, so you're gonna straighten out your arms or stay in cobra, and then come back into your downward dog. Okay, here in our downward dog, take a couple of breaths. Again, tailbone up towards the ceiling. Okay, one more. Okay, then drop your knees down to the mat. Bring your hands back underneath so that they're underneath your shoulders. Today we're gonna do several poses, and the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna hold each pose for about 4 or 5 breaths. And then in between each pose, we can do our vinyasa sequences, which is when we work through our plank down to chaturanga, up dog, and then down dog. That's just gonna add a little bit more way to build heat in the body, but if at any point it's too much for you, just take a break, come into downward dog or into child's pose until we get into our next pose. Okay, so we're gonna start first with bear pose, which is actually the name of my dog. Okay, so you're gonna put your hands underneath your wrists, underneath your shoulders. You can stay right here in tabletop position with your knees down. If you're in this position, think about pushing your hands down into the mat and pulling your belly button back towards your spine. Okay, then we're gonna hold this here. Other option is to tuck your toes. So bear pose is lifting your knees up just an inch or so off the mat. So you're still thinking about pressing your hands into the mat and pulling your belly in. Okay, and then we're gonna breathe. And try and stay with that even breath, even when you're working hard. Okay, one more breath. Good. Then you can drop your knees down. Then if we want to add the vinyasa, you'll step back into a plank pose. Lower yourself down to the mat or to a modified plank. Then come to up dog. And then back to downward dog. Okay, then we're going to take 3 breaths here. So again, you can just move right to downward dog, or you can be in child's pose for these breaths. And then we're going to move on to our next pose. Okay, for our next pose, we're going to come into plank pose. So you're going to lift your heels up, roll yourself forward. Coming into plank, if you need to lengthen out, you can a little bit. Option is also to drop knees, come into modified plank. That's okay. So in regular plank, think about pushing your heels away. And in both poses, think about pushing the mat away from you with your hands, pulling your belly button in, and then breathe. Okay, one more breath. And then we're going to lower down. If you're coming through the vinyasa, inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Again, skip if you want. Press your hands down into the mat. We'll take 3 breaths in our downward dog. Okay, for your next pose, couple of options to get there. We're going to end up in a lunge. So you can bring your right leg up behind you. This is called 3-legged dog. And then bend your knee and bring it forward. You might take a few steps to get there, or you can skip the 3-legged dog and just come forward into a lunge. So we're going to start in runner's lunge. So you might have to spread your feet back a little bit. You want to have a good right angle in your front knee. Push your back heel away from you. Both hands on either side of your foot. Think about pushing your hips forward. And then breathe. Okay, one more breath. Then we're going to switch, going through our vinyasa. So plant your hands, slide your foot back. Come back into your plank or modified plank. Lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Take 3 breaths here. Okay, then we're going to come to the other side. So we're coming to lunge with left foot forward, and you can just step up into the lunge, or you can come through 3-legged dog by bringing your left leg up in the air, bending your knees, stepping forward into that lunge. Make any adjustments you need with your legs. Press your back heel away from you. Push your hips forward, and then breathe. Okay, one more breath. Then you're going to bring your foot back so we come back into our plank. Again, or modify. Lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Take 3 breaths here. Okay, then we're going to come into a lunge again on the other side, this time into high lunge. So you can work through your 3-legged dog, bringing your right leg up behind you. Bend your knee, step it forward. Okay, or just step forward. Spread your legs a little bit so you have a good wide base here. Make sure your knee is right over your ankle. And then you're going to lift yourself up, bringing your hands to your hips. Pause here and push your hips forward. Think about pushing that back heel away from you. And you can stay here just like this, or you can reach your arms up by your ears, turning your pinkies in towards each other. And then breathe. Okay, take one more breath. And then you're going to bring your hands down, frame out your foot, so one hand on either side of your foot. Slide it back or step back into your plank, modified plank or child's pose or downward dog. Lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Pedal your feet or just push your heels to the mat. Yeah, one more side and then we'll come into a rest pose. Okay, with your inhale, bring your left leg up, 3-legged dog. Bend your knees, step forward. Spread your legs a little bit. Lunge into that front knee. Make sure your knee's right over your ankle. Lift yourself up into your lunge, hands on your hips. Stand up tall. Okay, and then you can bring your arms up by your ears, turning your pinkies in. And then breathe. And one more breath. Good. Bring your hands back down to the mat, frame out your foot, step back into plank. Good. Then lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Okay, then drop your knees down. Sit all the way back into child's pose. And we'll take a rest here. Maybe open your mouth through your exhales. Okay, take as long as you need to try and bring your breath back down to that slow, steady state that we had at the beginning. Okay, a couple more breaths here. Okay, then come back up, come into your downward dog. Okay, then we're gonna step forward with our right foot, pivot on your back foot so that you turn. Your back foot is perpendicular with your front foot and lift yourself up. We're gonna come into Warrior Two pose. So front foot, toes are pointing straight forward, back foot, they're pointing towards the edge of the mat. Lunge into that front leg again, making sure your knee is right over your ankle, not past it. Press into the outside edge of your back foot so that leg stays engaged. Reach your arms out, but relax your shoulders down. Okay, and then breathe. Okay, take one more breath. Okay, then you're going to spin your hands down to the mat, so planting on one on each side of your foot, pivot on your back foot, step back into plank or modified plank, lower down, inhale to up dog, exhale back to downward dog. Take 3 breaths here. Okay, then we're going to come to the other side. So you're going to step forward with your left foot, then pivot open onto your back leg, so I'm facing the opposite way. Front toes forward, back toes pointing to the side of your mat. Lunge, arms reaching out. Good. Okay, 3 more breaths here. Good. Then spin your hands back down to the mat, pivot on your back foot, step back into plank, lower down, inhale to up dog, exhale back to downward dog. Okay, take 2 more breaths. Okay, then inhale, look forward, walk up to the top of your mat. Then we're gonna come into Warrior Three pose. We'll start on our right leg, so right foot plants, arms are gonna reach out, relax your shoulders down, and then extend your left leg back behind you. Again, you can just lift your toes off a little bit or anywhere along the way, working towards parallel. Flex your foot so your toes are pointing down towards the mat. Good. Take another breath here. Good. And then come all the way back up. We'll do our vinyasa on this one after we do both sides. So come to the other leg, left leg down, arms out, relax your shoulders down. Then bring your right leg back behind you, flex your foot. Okay, take 1 more breath. Good. And then stand back up. Okay, bring your hands down to the mat, step back into plank. Lower yourself down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Pedal out your feet. Okay, we're gonna come back towards the beginning, repeat a couple of those poses we did at the beginning before we come down to finish on the mat. So you're gonna lift your heels up, roll back forward to that plank pose. Push your heels away from you, pull your belly in. Good. And breathe. And 1 more. And then lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to downward dog. Pedal your feet. Okay, then bring your knees down to either to a hover, walk your hands back. We're gonna do bear pose or tabletop, either one. So think about pushing your hands down into the mat, pulling your belly up and in, and breathe. Good. Then drop your knees down, cross your feet, sit back on your heels, and come all the way down to a seat. You can scoot yourself up. Take a second here, roll out your wrists. We did a lot of stuff on our wrists today. Roll them out, shake them out. Okay, good job. Then we're gonna come down onto our back. Lower all the way back down. Pull your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around. Give yourself a big hug. Squeeze it tight. Then set your feet down. Hip distance apart, knees pointed straight up. Reach down. Slide your feet back so you can touch the back of your heels with your fingertips. And we're gonna do bridge pose. We're gonna go up and down with our breath, and we'll do 5 breaths here. So with your inhale, push your feet down into the mat, lift your hips all the way up. And then exhale, lower it back down. Do that again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. 2 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Then last time, inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. And bring it back down. Bring your knees back into your chest. Squeeze it tight. Set your feet down. Bring them out to the edges of your mat. And then slowly bring your knees from one side to the other, and you can extend your arms straight out into a T. So we're windshield wipering our knees back and forth. Okay, one more time to each side. And then again, bring yourself into a tight ball, knees into your chest. Maybe pull your head up towards your knees. And then slowly extend it all the way out so that you're in a full body stretch. Flex your feet, reach your fingertips up tall. Good. And then relax. Bring your hands down by your side. Let your feet relax out to the sides. And then breathe here a few times slowly with a long, slow exhale. Okay, then just check in, relax even more through your face, anywhere else you might have tension. All right, and then wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring your legs together. Bring yourself back up to a seat. Okay. Good work today. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.